instilled in him.
He street raced as a kid and then realized he was pretty good, so he kind of stepped it up into an HRA and he was building cars his whole life, so he thought, well, I mean, why not just make a living out of this? So this was my father, Robin Pellissier. This was his first ever Wally he won from the SSBA class in the NHRA. I've always told my dad since I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, Dodge Dart's my 68 Dart's my dream car.
My husband got the idea a few years ago that he would find a 1968 Dodge Dart for Garrett, because Garrett was about 14 years old and he was, getting close to driving. So my husband, after a long search, found this car, and it was in someone's yard up in Hesperia, California, in the desert in the middle of nowhere. So my husband bought the car and brought it back to our shop at the time, and it was a mess. It was a disaster. I was worried that Garrett would see the car and be disappointed. Garrett had the total opposite reaction. One day I just showed up in my dad's garage and there's 68 Darts sitting there. And he was thrilled, and he knew right away it's a 68 Dodge Dart, and they started making all these plans, we're gonna do this with it. And shortly after that is when my husband got sick. And so he went in the hospital, and sadly in June of 2016 he passed away. And the car was just sitting, and Garrett was a year away from getting his driver's license, and the car was just sitting. It didn't run, needed a lot of work, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. I can't fix cars.
I wanted to step up and help get the car restored and completed in memory of Garrett and his father. And his father and I were great friends. He was always a gearhead, great Mopar fanatic and good guy. Yeah, there's no way I would have ever finished this car on my own, just because I'm very young. And Bill's been a mechanic most of his life, so there's a lot of stuff that he continually teaches me, and I'm very thankful for that. I just gave Garrett the guidance and let him do the work on the car as I just oversaw the work. I've always loved motors, so I think just learning to rebuild the motor and everything on it was, I think, one of my favorite parts of the whole car.
This past June, Garrett turned 16, and he got his driver's license, and the car was finished in June.
I'm so proud of Garrett and his sister, how they overcame the loss of their father, and channeling his energy into a restoration of this car was, I think, a great avenue for Garrett to have the strength to overcome the loss of his father at a young age and channel that energy into learning about cars and putting this car on the road, knowing that his father would be proud of him.
So I think working on my car was like a really, it was like a peaceful time for me. So having Bill help me, that kind of made everything just that much easier. So it's kind of relaxing.
Except when I wake my 16-year-old nephew up at 6 a.m. to come out in the garage. He's not always happy with me then.
Yeah, that's why I lock my door now.
It was a great labor of love for the family and friends.
We really feel my husband's spirit. We feel that he's still here with us because, just the love of cars that he's given to Garrett, and also just the fact that he's got all these tools. And when Garrett is working on the car and he's got these tools in his hand, he can look at the tools and say, these are my dad's tools. And it's just something that really brings it to life, where we feel like he's with us, and it helps us to keep his memory alive too, really, quite honestly. And Garrett just has always gravitated to Mopars, and I think that's my husband's doing. It's definitely no coincidence.
This is my dream car, so this is kind of my most treasured possession, really.